In life, whether it's personal or people around me, when you see people that are positive, that look at something good and something bad that took place, they move along in life faster, they're better, and people want to be around these people. I mean, too often people gossip, then one gossip person wants to be around the other person that gossips, but they don't realize when you gossip, you're saying something you heard about somebody else. You're telling everybody, what if part of it was wrong? You're gonna go out and tell every person you told this, oh, I'm sorry it was wrong, tell everybody you told, it's not gonna happen. So it's things you learn about. Don't gossip, don't belittle people if you don't have to. God, please don't. Try and look at the positive angle. What good could come out of something? And that positiveness is gonna make you live longer, happier, and wake up in the morning happy, not, oh my God, I gotta go to work, I can't wait till I get home, I wanna retire, because people were not positive, they were not happy. And what happens when they retire? They hate their job, they retire, 3 or 4 years later they're dead because they have nothing to do. That positive attitude, be around positive people, encourage positiveness. If you find yourself walking around just complaining all the time around people that complain a lot, man, move or just try and do something different, change your life. Being positive and a positive attitude is find something positive and something bad. Makes you look for solutions. When I was down and out, okay, oh, pop bottles, let's get the pop bottles, cash them in.
I think everybody has fear all wrong. People have so many theories about fear. They talk about, oh, well, I'm afraid of success. No, I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of intimacy. I'm afraid of heights. I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of the other thing. There's actually only 2 fears. Only 2. And if you're in sales, which you are, or even if you're not, life is about persuading people. Life is about influencing people. And fear is the invisible force that will make you ineffective at that. It will stop you. Now, I love J.K. Rowling as an example. I mean, we all know the Harry Potter series, but what a lot of people don't know about her, she talks a lot about fear. She struggled with major depression. Do you know she was unemployed and she wrote the original idea for Harry Potter on a napkin while she was on state benefits? She was then rejected by 12 publishing houses. And this, by the way, was after she was divorced, bankrupt, and a single mom of a kid. Pushed herself, pushed herself, pushed herself. She talks a lot about fear and about failure. Well, you know, we know the moral of the story. She just kept going. Of course she was afraid. But she had the good kind of fear, not the bad kind of fear.
Most people do a lot of talking and most people don't put in the effort. There's nothing you can accomplish in life with the right amount of work. The challenge is, you know, are you willing to do the work? And the reality is most people aren't, but that's the opportunity, right? I mean, it's like people you know at school. Most people are lazy, right? They barely get through it, and so that creates opportunity. I tell my kids that A, if they want something, they're gonna have to earn it.
Yeah.
And B, if they don't work hard enough to earn it, I'm gonna sell them off as medical experiments. That's the line in our house, right? I'm gonna sell you off as medical experiments. You need money? Okay, we'll sell you off as a medical experiment. We can get you money that way. I'll go give blood. Dad, I'm 7. I don't care.
If you want to be an inventor of any kind, inventing a new service offering for customers or a new product or anything, being an inventor requires, because the world is so complicated, you have to be a domain expert. I mean, in a way, even if you're not at the beginning, you have to learn enough so that you become a domain expert. But the danger is once you become a domain expert, you can be trapped by that knowledge. And so inventors have this paradoxical ability to have that, 10,000 hours of practice and be a real domain expert and have that beginner's mind. Have that look at it freshly, even though they know so much about the domain. And that's the key to inventing. You have to have both. And I think that is intentional. I think all of us have that inside of us, and we can all do it, but you have to be intentional about it. You have to say, yeah, I am going to become an expert, and I'm going to keep my beginner's mind.
If I had email, I would be inundated. I choose not to have email or ever turn a computer on. Now, all my companies are state-of-the-art, technologically advanced. If I want something printed out, it's printed out for me. But I do this out of choice. I'd rather make a phone call to you or write you a letter and communicate the way you deserve to be communicated with. And no disrespect to people on email, and I'd be so inundated, my gosh, I'd be on that computer all day long. I prefer to have that personal touch, and it seems to work. With all the companies I have that I'm quite active in, but I have great presidents running most of them. Thank God, I'm very blessed there, right, to take care of the details. But I'm still hands-on in many, many of the businesses here. And I could work better that way. And it goes down to this. Pay attention to the vital few, ignore the trivia many. If I had email, no disrespect, there'd be a lot of trivia on there I'd be answering. I try and pay attention to the vital few and ignore the trivia many.
What do you differentiate those two categories to being? Like, where would, let's say, your president be, and where would, like, the head of a sales division be? Are they on two sides of that equation?
No, what it is if it's one of my companies, you could call me directly. But people know, call me directly if you have to, but don't bother me with something someone else can handle. And they do it. It works really, really fine, works really well. But what's important would be obviously presence of company, anyone that's involved with me, either philanthropically, the main people philanthropically are the main people in my businesses, or places or countries I want to reach out to. If the head of a country will call me, I'll call them right back. You know, things that are very significant. Insignificant are, I'll give you an example. In my life, it has been significant. I'm hit up every month for hundreds of requests. Send me $100, send me $2 million. You have all the money, share it with me. And I don't even touch it. I can't. I'm swarmed. I do so much philanthropy now. Everyone expects that, whether it's a $2 million mortgage or, hey, I want to start a new business, send me $50,000 because you have money I don't, that people should do it. Well, that's not true. I spend millions on philanthropic work, but I do it through our foundation where it really makes sense, not where I have to go through it all myself.
So my question is, how do you begin to set up that system so that you have the, and I'll call it a luxury in some ways, of communicating as you see fit, when you see fit with those key decision makers?
Well, for starters, I'm the chairman of the board, okay, of the major companies. So I know detail what's going on from the chairman of the board's point of view. I also know that the people that I've hired can do what they're doing much better than I can. And I know what I need to know, and so do they. So they could pick up the phone and call me, JP, we just did this, or look what we're doing here. I also attend meetings on a regular basis to see where we're at and where we're going, and meet with marketing people, meet with promotional people, meet with our educational people, sports marketing people, to get a hands-on feel for what we're doing, where we're going, and in those really important meetings, I sit in to help make the decisions.
I do a lot of training for many corporations, and I conduct sales seminars, and I've heard all kind of guys doing techniques and training people techniques of how to close sales and how to work with and begin to control the sale and how to ask for the close. Let me share something with you. You can learn all the techniques in the world. If you don't believe in yourself, it won't happen for you. I learned all of it. So that's why I do a training called Focus on the Seller. You've got to focus on you. And as you convince you, as you sell yourself every day, you will begin to see a difference in the things that you're doing. Selling yourself on your ability to perform a job, to achieve a certain objective. Telling yourself every day, here I go again, and I got what it takes. This is my day, and nothing out here is going to stop me.
The only reason you keep saying there isn't is you feel so exhausted about where you are. But life, the universe, or God is just testing you because there is another level. If this is good, giant jump to excellence, giant done good, poor to good to excellence. There's a level where all your dreams are realized. There's a level that you've always dreamed about. It is real. It has not gone away. But it takes that extra burst when you think there's nothing left, there's no way, you've tried everything 10 million times and you keep going. It's almost like God is saying, if you keep hitting this wall enough times, I will see that you will not stop, that you are filled with that level of determination, faith, and courage, and then the door opens and you get to that next level. But what most people don't know is the next level is just 2 millimeters above. And it's called outstanding, ladies and gentlemen, outstanding. What's it called? What's it called? What's it called? Outstanding, magnificent, unstoppable, extraordinary, not excellent. It's a different level. It's a level where you are not one of the best, you are the best. And you know what's amazing? You only have to be 2 millimeters more than everybody else and you get everything. You get the joy, the laughter, the fun, the family, the passion, the economics, the freedom, the spirit. It's all there. What Jerry Maguire called the Quan, baby. All of it. And it's just 2 millimeters above, and most excellent people give up because they're exhausted. And there's some people who go, the harder I hit it, the more I hit it, sooner or later it's going down, I'm not stopping. And when you do that enough, it pops open.
I worked most of my life. In high school, there was stewards cleaners. After school would go there, I would put the drape on the hanger, the sleeve on the hanger, and the janitor of all the cleaners. Clean everything up. I worked for $1.25 an hour. The only reason it was $1.25 an hour is because the steward had to pay that. It was required by law, or he'd be giving me 50 cents an hour. He was a very tightwad guy. So I come in one day after school, and he says to me to go to work, he says, Johnny, come here, I want to talk to you. I said, okay. Talk to the steward, he says, Johnny, I was upstairs yesterday and I napped after I finished working. I was tired and I dropped my watch on the floor. I put it on the table, went on the floor, and I went down, I picked it up, and I noticed under the cot I was laying on, there was no dust. I moved the cot. There was no dust. I looked behind the filing cabinets. There was no dust there whatsoever. Zero dust. You really are a great janitor. I said, it's my job to do what I do when I do it, not when someone else is looking. Tightest guy in the world gave me a 25-cent raise to $1.50. Where I went to high school, I was the highest paid kid and maybe adult in the neighborhood. We didn't have a lot of money in those days. What it was if humans can imagine doing what you have to do when nobody is watching you, you're doing as if someone is right there watching you. And in your free time, you're not trying to elongate something. You're doing what you should do without people watching you do it.
Well, first of all, I'd say I actually think I feel fear quite strongly. So it's not as though I just have the absence of fear. I feel it quite strongly. But there are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of the fear.
So speaking of important things,
like people shouldn't think people shouldn't think, well, I feel fear about this and therefore I shouldn't do it. It's normal to feel fear. Like there have to be something mentally wrong if you shouldn't feel fear.
So you just feel it and let the importance of it drive you to do it anyway.
Yeah, actually something that can be helpful is fatalism to some degree. If you just accept the probabilities, then that diminishes fear. When starting SpaceX, I thought the odds of success were less than 10%. And I just accepted that actually probably I would just lose everything. But that maybe would make some progress. If we could just move the ball forward, even if we died, maybe some other company could pick up the baton and keep moving it forward, so that would still do some good. Yeah, same with Tesla. I thought the odds of a car company succeeding were extremely low.
It's necessary that you be flexible, that you are always thinking of how can I improve this better. This is a customer-driven economy. It's necessary for you to always explore various ways in which you can improve the quality of service that you're providing for the people in your organization. I remember a major company had talked about the extra value service they were providing for their customers. And the lady who had the news conference summarized it this way. She said, it's not our intention to satisfy our customers or to please our customers. Our intention is to amaze them. It's necessary, if you're going to compete today, that you look for ways to amaze your customers by being one of those individuals that keep your commitments, that keep your word, that's relentless. It's necessary as you work with the people that you bring into your organization, that they see that you're a good example of a person to work with because you model integrity and determination and ambition and truth and honesty and the way in which you conduct business.
When I worked for other companies, some of them, not to mention any names, were so bad, they would treat people the old way. I'm the boss, here's what you're gonna do because I'm the boss, right? Or there were times, for example, where maybe I had $1 for lunch. You can't get a lot for $1. So I just knew that that's how I was. And if I had a company that I had control of, by gosh, everyone was gonna be treated the way I wanted to be treated. So the minute we could afford it, everyone had free lunch. Whether you had money or not, you have free lunch. We pay for it for you. Carpool will pay for that. So we started doing things for people that I wish happened to me. Maybe that's part of fate. Maybe because a lot of things along the way weren't so good, that as things started getting good, it was so easy for me to share with our people, so easy to do that. People sometimes don't save money. As soon as we possibly could afford it, we started profit sharing. We're at the end of every year, and we'll take that profit sharing and put it in a retirement fund for you. It's yours, it's yours. If you're here so many years, it goes with you no matter where you go. But it's yours, that's your money.
That's really incredible. And how much do you think that that sort of golden rule approach has fed into your ridiculously low turnover rate, which is literally almost unprecedented? I mean, that's crazy.
True. I try and treat people exactly the way they'd want to be treated, exactly the way I would have wanted to be treated. I'm happy with my people. I realize my people are the company. If my people go, my God, the company goes. People are your company. And they take care of the customer. The customer is always right no matter what. So what do we do so the customer's happier? If somebody's unhappy, we try and discover why. And because you treat people this way, and we love them, you walk in our company, it's love. If you go to the front desk here in Century City, this girl just has the biggest smile saying, "Hi, welcome to John Paul Mitchell Systems." She loves what she does. Our big problem is we don't have turnover. We have so many people want to work for us, and the thing is, you got to wait for somebody to die. Now, as we grow, we'll add 1 or 2 on, obviously, at a time.
Sure.
And we're pretty big now because we're in 96 countries. It's how you take care of people anywhere in the world. You don't boss them around. You include them in what you're doing.
The other thing is take full responsibility for your life. Accept where you are and the responsibility that you're going to take yourself where you want to go. Someone said we have 2 primary choices in life. We can either accept conditions as they exist, or we can take the responsibility to change them. See, a lot of people want to exempt themselves from taking responsibility. All they want to do is talk about the problem. Every time you see them, they'll tell you their story over and over and over and over again. No, no. You want to take responsibility for your life. I got me here, I can get me out of this. And I'm getting out. I'm not going to be a volunteer victim. George Bernard Shaw said there are 2 kinds of people in life. You know, he said those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what happened. And he said the people that get along in this life look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they make them. They create them. So part of beginning to get unstuck, you've got to decide that the behavior pattern that you have adopted doesn't work for you. You've got to change your strategies, and changing your strategy means reinventing your life. Recreating you, and you have the power to do that. You can decide that you're going to change, that you're not going to be a wimp. You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last. You have the power to make that decision. You can decide I'm going to work on myself and develop myself. I'm going to empower me. And all of these things that are happening to me right now, they're just temporary inconveniences. They're not stronger than I am. I'm in charge here. Overcoming the negative conversation, that inner dialogue that's going on all the time, even when you don't want it to be there. You can't stop yourself right now from thinking. You can't do it. It's going on. And so learning how to empower yourself, part of doing that is standing up to yourself. You've got to stand up inside yourself sometimes and say, shut up. You've got to do this. I was going to give a presentation, and this voice inside of me saying, you can't do this. You don't have everything it takes. Shut up. I'm behind on my bills, and you're telling me what I can't do. I have got to do it. You'll get scared sometimes. Your mind will go blank on you. Some people you will allow to unnerve you. And you wonder, what's wrong with me? I'm not crazy. That's why you've got to learn to make a conscious, deliberate, determined effort to stand up inside yourself. Working on yourself, watching that inner dialogue, it will determine the quality of your life.
God created this planet. He created several species. Now, if you're an atheist, it's okay. Call it the force. Let me just say God for now, so I don't have to say God, the force, God, the force. Let's just say God right now. God creates the planet Earth. And first of all, he creates, which a lot of people in different organizations want, a perfect social economic world where everything is free, you don't worry about a thing, you're taken care of. There's no extra imagination necessary because it's all gonna be given to you. So he creates the oyster. He says, oyster, I'm giving you a free house to live in. I'm calling it a shell. I'm gonna put it at the bottom of the ocean to protect you from your enemies. You have food, clothing, all the food you want, protection, everything you want, the perfectly taken care of while you're in your measly little life as an oyster, but you're not gonna go anywhere. You stay there at the bottom of the ocean, but you're totally got your free food, free clothing, free everything you want. Then God created something called the eagle. Eagle, whole different species. Eagle, you want a house, you go out and build it. Take the top of a mountain, take the top of a tree. Go out and build your own house. You want some food to eat? No problem. Go out there and find it, eagle. And the eagle flies through miles in the wintertime of rain, sleet, snow, and wind just to feed its young. Did you know the eagle fails 95% of the time? A total failure. It's so big and cumbersome that when it comes upon its prey, they're wild. They shoot off in a different direction. And it misses. 5% of the time it succeeds. And what does it succeed to do? It succeeded to be the strongest bird in the sky. The only one that we know of anywhere in the world that could fly into the thermals of a hurricane and ride them to have fun. Now the eagle, unlike the oyster, can go anywhere it wants. Anywhere it wants. Yeah, it gambles, it does this on its own, but it goes wherever it wants. Now that eagle, and not the oyster, is the emblem of America, and also on the flag of many, many countries. You wouldn't be in this room right now if you weren't eagles. Don't only imagine, start doing.
Don't allow your emotions to control you. We are emotional, but you want to begin to discipline your emotion. If you don't discipline and contain your emotions, they will use you. Your mind goes on automatic, just like a guard. You know, I loved reading the book called As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. He uses the analogy of the mind being like a garden. You know, weeds don't have to have any encouragement to grow. You don't have to water them. They don't have to get sunshine. They don't have to have fertile ground. They will grow through the cracks of a sidewalk. Am I right? But if you want to grow orchids or roses or any kind of exotic flowers, there are special processes and procedures you must go through. Well, by the same token, you don't have to force yourself or motivate yourself to think negatively, to be depressed, to hate somebody, to want revenge, to want to get back at somebody, to beat yourself up over the head, to feel loaded with guilt. You don't have to make any effort to do that. Your mind is on automatic. It will do that by itself. But if you want to begin to move into your own personal greatness, if you want to begin to really enjoy a happy, successful, healthy life, you've got to be willing to go against the tide. You've got to be willing to harness your will and say, in spite of this, I'm in control here. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to let this destroy me. I'm coming back. And I'll be stronger and better because of it. You have got to make a declaration that this is what you stand for. You're standing up for your dreams. You're standing up for peace of mind. You're standing up for health. You want it, and you're going to go all out to have it. It's not going to be easy. When you want to change, it's not easy. If it were in fact easy, everybody would do it. But if you're serious, you'll go all out. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Murphy's Law will be knocking at your door. Why? I don't know why. That's called life. and you have to deal with it. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, just like sports. Some of the best shooters can't hit baskets different times in games. They get in a slump. Do they sit on the sideline and say, I just didn't hit a basket today? No, they continue to execute. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy, work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy.
It's all in the mindset. When you get up in the morning, you do what you normally do. I would eventually say a lot of you here probably turn on your cell phones, your computers, and what's the latest email, what's the latest text that comes in? You start your day off like that. That's your mindset. Try this. Get up in the morning, do whatever you have to do. Don't turn the computer on. Don't turn the TV on. Go right back to bed again. Either lay there or sit there and just bring the universe to you. Here's how you do it. You just be. It's virtually impossible when you first do it because 1,000 thoughts come through your head. We're human beings. So what you do is you're sitting in bed, look at the wall, look at the off TV set, look at the ceiling, look at the door, look at something in the room that gets your attention, and just look at it and just be for a couple minutes. Not 10 minutes, not 20 minutes, not 2 days, just be. When your mind wanders, find another spot in the room to look at so you're back in present time, even for a couple of minutes. Now go about your day. Don't think about what you're gonna do. For that split few minutes, you're now becoming part of a universe, which is also part of global thinking.
That in the process of working on your dreams, you are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. As Jack indicated, I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area called Liberty City, in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor with my twin brother. We were 6 weeks of age, we were adopted. When I was in 5th grade, I was identified as EMR, labeled educable, mentally retarded, put back from the 5th grade into the 4th grade, and stayed in that category until I got out of high school. I don't have any college training, but I met a high school teacher who one day changed my life. I was waiting on another student, and when he came in, he said to me, "Young man, go to the board and write what I'm about to tell you." And I said, I can't do that, sir. He said, "Why not?" I said, "I'm not one of your students." He said, "It doesn't matter, follow my directions now." I said, "I can't do that, sir." He said, "Why not?" I said, "Because I'm educable, mentally retarded." And he came from behind his desk and he looked at me. He said, "Don't ever say that again. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality."
Spend a lot of time talking about mindset from the standpoint of think positive so positive things happen. And I do believe in having a positive mindset, obviously. I think that the actions that you take are way more important in terms of developing that mindset. But we don't spend enough time on what you were just talking about, which is understanding how the automatic nature of worrying about stuff all day long, how that is making you less money, how it is making you less happy, how it is disconnecting you from your spouse, how it is keeping you unhealthy, and how it is a habit that robs you of joy and opportunity and power. And it is one of the easiest habits to break. Number one, your life happens in 5-second windows. Number two, in 5 seconds, you can control what you think, you can decide what you're gonna do, and you can change absolutely anything, which changes absolutely everything. And so the 5-second rule is a mind trick. That's all that it is. A fancy way to call it is a it's a form of metacognition, but it's basically a hack. It's a cheat code.
Okay.
And the way that it works, and this is the challenge with getting it out there, is that it sounds so profoundly stupid, like a gimmick, that it took a while for people to actually take it seriously.
I get that.
And to really stack up the science to make, anybody that interacts with it go, holy shit, like this actually works.
Yeah.
So here's what it is. Basically, the moment you catch yourself hesitating or doubting or starting to worry or about to chicken out or shrink or shut up or whatever it is that you're about to do that is shrinking your power, you just go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You count backwards, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What happens when you do that? Don't do it out loud because it'll scare somebody, like a psycho. And I mean, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm talking. Yes, exactly. No.
My turn.
Yes, exactly. Although I say it's so simple that people
This
use
is
it
a
with their
Saturday Night
kids.
Live skit in the making, right here.
Totally.
I can see this.
I would love that because that means I've really made it.
True.
Your kids will use it on you. So my kids will use it on me. So if I have a certain tone that comes out, I'll hear my 12-year-old go 5, 4, 3. Watch that tone, Mom. Just or Mom, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I thought you were going to go to the gym.
Oof.
Yes. So by counting backwards, the kind of cheat code that you're doing in your mind is you are interrupting what are called habit loops that get encoded in the central part of your brain, and you are starting up the prefrontal cortex. It's a little trick that causes focus, and it's a lot like having a mantra because you're shifting gears, but the thing about having a mantra is, and I suppose that as you count backwards more and more and more, you become used to it, but it becomes a habit that triggers action. So what you do is you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cut off this part of the brain, awaken this part of the brain, and then move. And what happens with the counting backwards is there's nowhere to go after 1. And your mind is socialized in a countdown situation to go.
Yep.
And so counting up won't work because you can keep
go
going.
forever.
And you do it in many aspects of your life, so it's actually not something that requires any focus.
The only reason that most of us don't accumulate a level of achievement in our lives, one, most people end up aiming low. That's what I did most of my life, that most people fail in life, not because they aim too high and miss. Most people fail in life because they aim too low and hit. And that's what I did. I was a disc jockey. I was very satisfied. I achieved a level of professionalism and mastery in that area. And then someone challenged me and said, you can do more. And it took him 14 years to convince me to become this person that you now see. This person that you now see, this voice, which I consider my power voice, I had absolutely no idea that this person existed. But there is sometimes in life, someone can take you to a place within yourself where you can never go by yourself. And he saw something in me. And sometimes you have to believe in somebody's belief in you until your belief kicks in.